My name is Pearl and welcome to my Java tutorial series for beginners, Lesson 1. In this course, you'll be learning everything you need to master the fundamentals of Java programming, no matter your level, age, or experience. I'll be teaching you all the basics plus some intermediate concepts you need to know to confidently code with Java. All you need is a desktop, Mac, or PC to begin learning. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so in this lesson, you'll be learning how to set up your desktop, Mac, or PC to begin programming. The first thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to download and install the Java SDK or the Java Software Development Kit. What this SDK will do is it will convert our Java code that we will write to machine code that can then be run by our computer to produce some output that our Java code is meant to give. It's also a toolkit for building and running Java applications and Java code that we will write. So to download this Java SDK, I'll just open up Google and I'll type in Java SDK. And then I'll click on this link that says JDK download. Next, I'll scroll to the bottom and you can select whichever version of the Java development kit that you would like, depending on what type of computer or PC you are on. And now it will download this installer. Now, after it's finished, I'm simply going to click on this, and then it'll open up this little tab over here. So you can just follow this application and it will help you install the JDK. When you see this message, then you're done installing the JDK. Okay, so now that we've installed the software development kit, the next thing that we'll need to do is to install an IDE or a programming environment where we can code with Java. Now, I'll be recommending IntelliJ, however, you can use whichever programming environment that you would like. The reason that I'll be using IntelliJ is just because I think it's the one that's easiest to use if you're just starting out. Now, again, you can choose some different IDE, however, I'll be sticking with IntelliJ for the duration of this course. So to install IntelliJ, I'm just going to go back to my browser and I will type in to the search bar, IntelliJ. Now I'll be clicking on download and I'll be downloading the community version, which is free. Okay, so after this .dmg file has finished downloading, I'm going to open it up and then I will follow this installer's instructions. Now I've installed IntelliJ. We've finished downloading all the things that we will need for programming with Java. Now let's create our first project with the IDE to get used to this coding environment. Okay, so to create a new project, I'm simply going to go ahead and select New Project, and then I'll select for my project SDK, this option, Next, and then for the purposes of learning Java, I'm going to select Create Project from Template, and finally, we'll need to fill out this little form here. So first of all, it's going to ask you what your project name is. So you can name your project whatever name you would like. I'm going to name my project First Project. And then you'll have your project location, Finally, you have something called your base package. What a package is it's something that will group together different projects. I'm just going to name my package as com.learning Java. Now you can change this package to whatever you like, and then I'll finish. Okay, so once you've created your first project, you'll be brought to a page that looks something like this with a file opened named main.java. Let's see the contents of this main.java, which seems like it already has some code written inside of it. Now this is some default Java code. First, let's see what all of this code means. On our first line, we have something called package com.learning Java. Now what this does is it's basically saying that this file, which is part of this project, is part of this package right here. Now this will change based on what package you are using. Next, on the third line, you have public class main. This line of code says that you have this class named main. Now what is a class? Well, a class is basically something that groups together methods. Finally, on line 5, you have a method. A method is a group of code that returns an output. And here on line 6, IntelliJ has a comment that says, write your code here. Now you may ask, what is this thing that I call a comment? Well, a comment in Java programming is something you can use to write notes in your Java code. Now, it won't affect any of your code or the output that your program will have. To create a single line comment, what you'll need to do is, let's say I want to have a comment on line 7, I'll write 2 forward slashes and whatever notes that I want to write. Now you can also write multi-line comments that span multiple lines. If you want to do that, you just need to write a forward slash with an asterisk. Now say I want to extend this comment until line 11. Then I'd go till line 11 and then I'd write another asterisk with a forward slash. So inside of these asterisks, I can write whatever notes that I will need. Now that we know what everything in the main.java file is, let's move on to the sidebar. Now this side tab is just going to show you all of the files in your project. If you open up this first project file, you'll have a couple of files, and if you click on source, then you'll have all of your Java files that your program will run. Let's move on to this top menu bar. I'm just going to explain a couple of the buttons, the main ones that we'll be using and that you will be using in this course. The first button here that you have that is green is the build project button. What it means to build a project is to essentially compile or run your project. Next, over here you have this play button. What this play button does is it's not that different from the build button. It runs your code. Now the difference between the run button and the build button is that the run button is essentially more finalizing the compiling of your code. Finally, you have this little bug icon, and what this is this is the debug button. Now, when you click this button, what it will do is it will stop at certain points in your code so you can debug or fix errors that you may have in your code. This will come very useful when you are programming, especially when you have long lines or long files of Java code. Okay, so let's see what happens when we press this run. So what our computer is going to do, or this IDE is going to do, is it's going to run our main file. You can also have other files, however, by default, our IDE is going to run main.java. And then the IDE will output whatever output that your code is meant to give. And now you may notice that there's this little pop-up down here. What this tab is called it's called the terminal or the console. The terminal is mainly used to show any updates that the IDE may have for your code. You can also place any output that your Java file has in your compiler if you would like. Now, you can also place your output in other files inside of your project, but we'll be talking about that later in this course. And that's about it for this video.